Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Let's start with an easy question. Can you tell us a little about your background and experience in content management?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I've been working in content management for about 5 years now. I started as a content writer and gradually transitioned into content strategy and management roles. Most recently, I managed a team of content creators for a digital marketing agency, where I was responsible for overseeing content production, SEO strategies, and ensuring all content aligned with our clients' goals. My experience has helped me develop strong project management and communication skills, both of which I believe are key for a content manager.
That sounds great. Given your experience, what tools do you use for content management, and how comfortable are you with them?
I've worked with a variety of tools. For project management, I often use Trello and Asana to track progress and deadlines. For content creation and optimization, I'm proficient in using tools like WordPress, HubSpot, and Google Analytics. I also rely heavily on SEO tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs for keyword research and performance tracking. I'm comfortable using these tools and always stay updated on new content management technologies that can streamline processes.
That's a solid range of tools. Now, content quality is often a major concern. How do you ensure the content you produce is of high quality?
Quality starts with understanding the target audience and their needs. Before creating any content, I make sure we have clear buyer personas and know the intent behind the content. I also ensure thorough research is done so the content is accurate, informative, and engaging. Once the content is written, I always perform a round of revisions and editing to make sure it's polished, clear, and free from errors. Feedback from colleagues and stakeholders is also crucial to maintain quality.
That's a great approach. As a content manager, how do you handle deadlines, especially when managing multiple projects?
Managing multiple deadlines is definitely a challenge, but it's all about prioritization and organization. I create detailed content calendars and set clear milestones for each project. I break down each task into smaller, manageable steps and assign specific deadlines to them. This way, I can stay on track even if I'm juggling multiple projects. If there's ever a bottleneck or a delay, I communicate early with the team to find a solution.
Sounds like you have a solid approach to managing time. What would you say is your biggest achievement in your content management career?
I'd say my biggest achievement was leading a content overhaul project for a major client. They were struggling to attract traffic to their website, so I worked with the SEO team to develop a strategy that included optimizing existing content and creating new blog posts, landing pages, and resources. Within 6 months, we saw a 40% increase in organic traffic and a significant boost in engagement. It was a challenging but rewarding project because it required collaboration across multiple teams.
Impressive. Now, as a content manager, you'll likely be dealing with feedback from various stakeholders. How do you handle situations where there's conflicting feedback on a piece of content?
Conflicting feedback can be tricky, but I approach it by first clarifying the key objectives of the content. I listen to all feedback and then assess which parts align best with the goals we're trying to achieve. If needed, I'll have a meeting with the stakeholders to better understand their perspectives and find a compromise. The goal is to make sure the content serves its purpose while addressing everyone's concerns.
It's great to hear that you handle feedback so thoughtfully. Lastly, how do you stay updated on the latest trends and best practices in content marketing?
I stay updated by reading industry blogs, listening to podcasts, and participating in webinars. I follow thought leaders like Neil Patel, Ann Handley, and Rand Fishkin. I also attend content marketing conferences when possible and engage with content marketing communities on platforms like LinkedIn. Staying connected with other professionals in the field helps me stay on top of the latest trends and best practices.
Great. Let's dive a bit deeper. Can you walk us through your process when developing a content strategy for a new project or client?
Of course. When developing a content strategy, the first step is to gather as much information as possible. This involves understanding the client's business objectives, target audience, and key challenges. I work with the marketing team and other stakeholders to align the content goals with the broader business goals. Next, I conduct a content audit to see what already exists, identify any gaps, and assess what's working and what's not. Then, I create a content plan that includes content types, e.g., blogs, videos, social media posts, a distribution strategy, and a publishing calendar. Finally, I establish KPIs to track the effectiveness of the content, such as engagement rates, conversion rates, and SEO performance.
That's a thorough approach. How do you handle content that's underperforming or not meeting expectations?
When content isn't performing as expected, I first take a step back to analyze it from a few different angles. I start by reviewing the SEO performance, engagement metrics, and traffic sources. Sometimes, underperformance is related to the lack of proper optimization, so I look into keyword targeting, metadata, and internal linking. If it's more about engagement, I analyze the audience feedback or comments to understand if the tone or format needs adjusting. I also test variations, A/B testing, or even refresh the content with new information or visuals. If necessary, I involve the team to brainstorm ideas for how we can rework the content to make it more appealing.
It sounds like you take a data-driven approach, which is essential. Speaking of data, how do you use analytics to improve content performance?
Absolutely, data is key. I use tools like Google Analytics, SEMrush, and Social Media Insights to monitor content performance. I track metrics such as page views, bounce rates, time on page, and conversion rates. If a blog post or landing page is underperforming, I analyze where visitors are coming from, which pages they're engaging with, and where they drop off. I also monitor keyword rankings to ensure the content is optimized for the right terms. Based on this data, I make adjustments, whether that's tweaking headlines, optimizing for different keywords, or revising the content to better meet user intent.
Great to hear. In your experience, what role does SEO play in content management, and how do you ensure your content is optimized?
SEO is absolutely integral to content management. Without SEO, great content can get lost in the vast expanse of the internet. To ensure content is optimized, I always start with keyword research to identify the terms and phrases our audience is searching for. From there, I make sure we incorporate those keywords naturally into the content, especially in critical places like the title, headers, and first paragraph. I also pay attention to factors like internal linking, meta descriptions, alt text for images, and content length. Lastly, I ensure that the content is mobile-friendly, fast-loading, and easily accessible for all users. I also keep an eye on Google algorithm updates to stay aligned with best practices.
That's a comprehensive understanding of SEO. Now, content creation can sometimes be stressful, especially with tight deadlines. How do you manage stress and keep your team motivated?
Managing stress is all about organization and setting realistic expectations. I try to plan ahead as much as possible by creating content calendars and leaving room for flexibility. If there's a particularly tight deadline, I make sure the team is aware of it early on, and we work together to divide tasks. I also ensure there are regular check-ins to track progress and avoid last-minute surprises. To keep my team motivated, I encourage open communication and provide constructive feedback. I also recognize their achievements, whether big or small, to keep morale high. A supportive environment makes a big difference, especially during stressful periods.
It sounds like you focus on both proactive planning and fostering a supportive team environment. Can you share a time when you had to manage a content crisis or an urgent situation?
Sure. One situation that stands out was when we were launching a new product for a client, and the blog post we had prepared didn't meet expectations on launch day. There was a lot of pressure to fix it fast, so I quickly pulled together a team to review the content. We realized that the blog lacked the right messaging and didn't properly highlight the unique selling points of the product. I organized a quick rewrite session, incorporating input from the product team and refining the SEO elements. We republished the post within a few hours and promoted it via email and social media to boost its reach. While it was a stressful experience, the quick turnaround and teamwork made it a success. The post ended up driving a lot of traffic and conversions.
That's a great example of how to handle a high-pressure situation. On a different note, can you talk about your experience in managing content teams? How do you ensure smooth collaboration and maintain creativity within the team?
Managing a content team is all about clear communication and fostering a collaborative environment. I start by setting clear goals and expectations from the outset. I believe in giving my team autonomy while also providing guidance when needed. Regular brainstorming sessions help keep the creative juices flowing, and I encourage everyone to share their ideas, no matter how unconventional they might seem. I also ensure that each team member has the tools and resources they need to succeed, whether it's training, access to content management systems, or regular feedback. Encouraging open dialogue and recognizing individual contributions is key to maintaining motivation and creativity.
That's a fantastic approach. How do you handle situations where a team member's content doesn't align with the overall brand voice or messaging?
When that happens, I address it through constructive feedback. I first try to understand why the content diverged from the brand voice. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding of the guidelines, or it might be a lack of clarity on the messaging. I schedule one-on-one discussions with the team member to go over the content, pointing out specific areas that need adjustment. I also take the time to reinforce the brand guidelines and the reasoning behind them so the team member has a clear understanding. I find that providing concrete examples and offering help in revising the content ensures that the team member feels supported rather than criticized.
Thank you for your thorough answers. We've covered a lot today, and I appreciate the insights you've shared. Before we conclude, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you for the opportunity to discuss my experience. I'm truly excited about the possibility of working with your team. Content is such a dynamic and creative field, and I'm eager to bring my skills and experience to contribute to your goals. I look forward to possibly collaborating with everyone.